Hey, what's up y'all? I'm Alan Hain, the Lawn Care Nut. Thanks for coming back for yet another week. So the main goal of today's video is to talk to you about these 3 battery-powered string trimmers, all from Toro, but all slightly different. Toro's been making a real big run at the marketplace lately, and so I thought, you know what, there are some pretty major differences here that those of you that are considering a battery string trimmer, especially a Toro, that you might want to know. So that's really the gist of this video, even though there's going to be a ton of other tips in it. I'll go ahead and do the thing below here where it kind of does the timestamps, but I'll also put timestamps in the description below for you. Of course, if you can't tell, I need to clean the garage, so I'm going to do that. I won't make you sit through watching that, but definitely need to pay some attention there. Definitely going to be time soon to get in and give these beds some attention. Need to redo the rock in these too. Man, so many things to be done, so little time. All right, here we go. Time to clean this. Ready? Well, there we go. I don't know if you're actually going to be able to tell a difference, but it doesn't matter because I definitely can. I can actually walk right there right now. And that's all that matters because it's time for us to review those 3 trimmers from Toro.
24 hours later.
Okay, so it's actually the next day. Cleaning the garage took quite a bit longer than I expected, and I got tired. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and finish up this review then, and I got a couple other things to do out in the lawn. We'll see how much of that I get done. But really, the most important thing is for this video is I wanted to go over these 3 string trimmers because they're quite a bit different. In case you're looking to buy one, I want you to understand what you're getting. So they all look very similar down here. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna talk about them up here. And I actually have them pulled up here too because you can kind of get each one. So this one here, this is the one I got last year, and this is the one that I thought worked really well, and I'll put up some information on the screen about it. And then this is the one that I got this year. This came by itself in a single pack, which when I first got it, I thought this was an updated version of that, but it's not. This is definitely different. This is still being sold and marketed actively. And then this one is the one that comes in a 2-pack. You also get a blower with it. So that's the blower. So they kind of do it that way if you want to get a 2-pack, which I think is smart for sure, and there's a lot of people that will appeal to, but you need to realize when you buy that 2-pack, you're sacrificing some things in both units. So with that said, I'm going to give you a little side-by-side of each one of these that gives you the basic layout of each one, just to give you like a baseline.
Up first in the line, we got the 14/16-inch brushless string trimmer, model number 51830 from Toro. This little beauty has a brushless motor and retails for $199.99. You can get up to a 16-inch cut and 2-line thickness options up to 95 thousandths comes standard. 3-phase brushless electric motor with Run Smart onboard Intel, variable speed and high-low selector for ultimate control based on the job. No annoying spools, line easily threads and you're ready to rip. Part of the 60-volt Flex Force line where all the batteries work with all of the tools, and of course this one comes with that durable cast aluminum head. Comfort grip feels good in the hand, easy to hold and less vibration. This is once again model number 51830, retailing for $199.99.
One other thing I like about this, I appreciate the iconography. You could see this guy here, he's reading the New Testament, which, you know, it's always a good idea. And this guy, he's being safe. He's got his mask on and everything.
Up next, we got another member of the 60-volt max line. This one's a 13 or 15-inch, also brushless string trimmer. Here we're looking at model number 51831, and she retails for $169. $99. I think throughout the video you're gonna see me say this one goes for $179, but just remember I'm an idiot and I'm old and I can't keep track of numbers real well in my head. This little beauty allows you to go from 13 to 15 inches and cut quickly with durable 80 thousandths line. That's easy power performance. We also got a 3-phase brushless electric motor with Run Smart Intel on board. Variable speed control at the handle, and again part of the 60-volt line where all the batteries work and all the tools. We got a durable high impact head, comfort grip handle, feels good and easy to hold with less vibration, if you know what I mean. Once again, this is model number 51831, retailing at $169.99. Finally, we got this little old combo pack here with a weed whacker and a blower. Model number 51881 is that combo pack that retails for $249.99. Comes with a single battery shared betwixt the two. Now, this little string trimmer also carries variable speed at the handle, has a powerful 60-volt motor, not brushless. It is part of that 60-volt line, so all the batteries work with all the tools, and you'll get a 13-inch cut width on that durable 80 thousandths line. We got a comfort grip handle that feels good and is easy to hold and brings less vibration, if you know what I mean. Lightweight and easy to maneuver. Now, this one also comes with a little old blower that blows up to 100 miles per hour. Once again, this is the combo kit from Toro, model number 51881, and it retails for $249.99.
Okay, now the first thing I'll get out of the way, and I have to do this because I'm sure Toro's lawyers will have a meeting and probably decide that Alan Hain is not allowed to use their tools anymore, but I really don't care, to be honest with you. I love you, Toro, but I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. And in fact, what I'm talking about there is how they talk about here that it's a 14 or 16 inch. They're talking about this one, and really that's only gonna be a thing when you have the guard on. That one, I take the guards off. I blame the pro guys, by the way. All of the pro guys set a terrible example for us DIYers because they take their guard off, which I'll talk about that in a minute. But basically this right here, this little cutter, when the string goes around, it cuts it at a certain length, which then says that's a, you know, whatever, like for that one. So for this one, they consider that a 13 inch. So it's probably 7 inches from there to there, which, hey, I'll take it. Now I'm sure it's 7 inches from the middle or something like that. And that's how they consider it a 13. This one, when you get it, the guard can be adjusted so that you can cut the string off higher or lower. That's what all that means. But when I take the guard off, that means absolutely nothing. Now these edges are not trimmed yet, but when they do, you'll see why I like to take the guard off, because I actually like to edge these borders with the string, but when I tip the guard up, it actually blocks my view. So I take it off. I'm assuming that's why the pros do it too, because they edge with their string trimmer and they can't see. Now, I understand there's an argument to be made about safety there. This is my choice. I always wear eye protection. You'll see I wear long pants. I very rarely weed whack in shorts because I've been hitting the shins too many times with things. But again, if you're somebody that's totally into safety, I 100% recommend that you leave the guard on, because that much of a guard is definitely gonna protect you that much of the time. All right, next what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run out and use these. Only reason why is I have only used these two back to back when I was at the Freedom Factory, and if people wanna know how much experience I have with these, I used these to weed whack the entire Freedom Factory twice. 100,000 square foot of grass and all the edges that go with it. So I have quite a bit of experience with these. So one thing I will say is the battery power works great. I've had, you know, no complaints on how long a battery lasts or anything like that. Of course, I have like 10 batteries now, so don't take my word for it, because I can always just pop more on at any time. But one thing I wanted to point out, and I'm not the one that realized this, it was Brett from Brett's Grasscapades, because he's a lot smarter than he looks. This is actually last year's battery that came with this one, and you'll see it's a 60 volt, 2.5 amp hours, 135 watts, whereas this is the one that came with this year's, and it's a 60 volt, 2.0 amp hour, 108 watts. This is not the AVE channel, and even though I watch every one of his videos, I still understand 0% about what he talks about. I have no idea how electrical stuff works. So if somebody below wants to tell us what's the difference in those batteries, is there a difference in performance or not, I would love to learn from you. One thing that I will make sure I do though is when I test these, I will use the same volts of battery or same amp hours or whatever. I won't switch from one to the other, just in case that does make a difference in power load. I'm a power load! But either way, battery power, just fine. And it's nice, they all do have this nice indicator right here so you can see how much power you do have. All right, so really the most important thing about these is to check the performance, but before I do that, I actually need to fill string. This one is cut down to just one, which means it's empty, so I gotta fill it up. And then this one is completely empty, and this is gonna bring up something that I believe is a deal breaker. It's definitely a deal breaker for me, but it's probably gonna be a deal breaker for a lot of you too. So this unit here, which is $199, and this one here, which is $179, this has a speed feed head, and I'll show you what that means. This does not. This has the old school string it up and cause you much stress type of string head. I keep finding more things to talk about, so before I even string the lines, let me just say this. This one here, $199, can take the 95 thousandths line. This one here, $179, cannot take that thicker line. It has to take the 80 thousandths line. If you want to see the difference in the two, I'll put up a picture, but to me, there is a big difference in thickness. You definitely want the thicker line if you got thicker stuff to cut through. Now, I will say, the more string gets in, the tighter it gets and the harder it gets to fill that. It's not the easiest speed feed I've ever used. Could use a little bit more depth on this, just so I could get in there and bear down on it, but still not too bad. Okay, now to this one, and I gotta be honest with you, I've been having anxiety about this all weekend, because if I can't figure out how to get this strung, I'm not gonna be able to use it for the review. So we have some sort of iconography right there telling me about some sort of way to twist it, so let's see if I can figure that out. So I basically wound them around there like I showed you, and then I just kind of have them hanging out. And then you can see there's notches in there, so I just line them up with those notches. Feed them through. So this, you can tell where this goes based on the tabs there. And then so you just kind of push this down and you just feed this through that. Through there. And then you do the same on this side. Feed it up through there. Should have never undone this. There we go. Okay. See, now they clamp on, and you can see it's there, so maybe it's not as hard as it looks, but still not as easy as a speed feed. But there we go. This one over here, this is the one that comes in the combo pack. You can see I haven't used it yet, but it has that same kind of head, not the speed feed, that you have to take off and string manually. And it also uses the thinner string. So we're just going to use the house-made string for this. I wonder what that's for. By the way, one nice thing about battery tools in general because there's no gas, you can just plop them down in your grass and not worry about it. With gas-powered tools, you'd have to worry about that gas leaking out and killing your grass. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and run the 2.0 amp hour battery on both. But then I'm also going to switch off and try the 2.5 just to see if I can notice a difference in feel. But we'll use the 2.0 amp hour battery on both to start. But we're going to start with this one, the 199 deal. Also, this one does have 2 speeds. This one doesn't. Both have what they call a variable speed trigger, but this one has like a low and a high. I don't really use that. I pretty much run it wide open all the time. But again, I was talking to Brett. You can tell Brett's like my guru now. He was saying when he does his fence lines, he turns it down to the lower setting so it doesn't rip through the fence. So there is definitely a need for that in some cases. I just don't have it at my property. All right, now let's test the $179 one. I'm not testing the cheap one yet because I'm just not. See there, it's pretty tight, really tight. Also nice and tight. Okay, so now that I did that, this one seems to rip a lot harder. That's the best way I can describe it. It rips a lot harder. It's also louder. This one does good. This is the one I've had all along and I've always liked it, but this one rips a lot more aggressively. I don't know if that's because there's a lighter string in there, because I did email Toro and ask if it was the same like motor or whatever, and they said yes. But there's one more thing I want to do, and that is I want to put in the 2.5 amp hour battery that one came with, that it's meant to be used with, and see if that makes a difference. I don't know. Again, I don't know anything about electrical stuff, but I just want to try it because 2.5 is greater than 2, so it just makes me wonder. I don't know, they sound slightly different, but I'm no expert to say, so I'm going to say that no, the battery doesn't seem to make a difference. By the way, and if you'll allow me a little liberty here, sometimes I see tool channels, and I'm not bagging on tool channels, or maybe I am, but not lawn channels, but tool channels, they get sent these products and they review a weed whacker, but they kind of weed whack like beta males. This is not how you weed whack. When you weed whack, you actually have to get after it and get her done. That's how you get the cleanest look. When you're doing this, every time you're just taking a divot out of your edge. If you want clean, tight edges and you want to do it like a pro, you do it fast and you do it workmanlike and you do it efficient. Okay, now I know I compared the other two and I kind of left this one out. It's only because this comes in a pack, so it doesn't have really all the features. So I'm just gonna give it a shot and I'll just kind of tell you how it compares and you know, make some observations about it, being that it comes in a 2-pack, because I already told you that that blower right there is much weaker than the single pack blower, but that's not for this review. Yeah, this is pretty overgrown back here, and I can't really see because of the guard, but this thing rips pretty well too. Yeah, so this little thing, it rips pretty well too. It feels awful heavy down here though for what it is, but it could be again that I've got that guard on there, but not bad. I'll give you some more of my opinions on it in a minute. But my first opinion now is not bad. Now, no brushless motor here. Again, I don't know anything about that stuff, but apparently a brushless motor is supposed to last longer, give better torque, continuous use, that kind of stuff. People in the comments below can tell you, but just from me using it, it doesn't work too bad at all. Okay, now one thing I am gonna point out where all of these Toro units lack, and that is the shaft length department.
That's what she said.
And listen, there's nothing wrong with, you know, being fat and scraping out the sides, but length is really the most important thing here.
Push it in as deep as you can.
That is because if you look, I'm a short guy, I'm 5'8", and look at here, I'm bent over using the trimmer. And that's not so bad when I'm just doing my house. I don't have any back problems. You know, I didn't play football when I was younger. I wasn't forced into lifting a lot of weights that I couldn't when I was 16 years old, like a lot of you big fellas were. That's why you guys all limp around at the age of 40. And so, you know, bending over can actually hurt you even if you're only doing your small 1,000 square foot lawn. So you're gonna want something with a longer shaft so you don't have to bend over so much. But that is one thing though that these Toros lack on, is they need to have a longer shaft for sure, for comfort. By the way, all joking aside, I got more time on the football field than all of you football guys because I was in the band, so I got 30 minutes of playtime every single game. Never missed a game either, home or away. So this is called Darwin's Grip. It's made by an entrepreneur. His name is Robbie and he lives in Alabama. And basically it solves that issue of you having to bend down, because now you can hold the grip here instead of way up here. And so it just gives you that extra, see that extra lift down. Otherwise you gotta hold it here, now you're way down there. So you don't have to bend down to get your string trimmer head where you need it. Now I actually think this thing is probably made for gas trimmers that are much heavier and this and that, but I just wanted to show it because if you are somebody that's taller and you need a little something to help you, you definitely might want to consider that. I'll put a link in the description below, not an affiliate link. I'm just trying to help out a fellow entrepreneur, somebody that I think has a really cool invention and that some of you could actually use. All right, it's getting nice and humid out already, good to see. So let me give you my final thoughts on these 3 trimmers.
So the first thing is, if this is your first battery string trimmer, any one of these is going to work fine for you.
you're not going to be comparing all of them. You're just going to have the one that you're with. And so in that case, I'd say they'd be fine. Now, these two are definitely a higher end than this one, mainly because of that brushless motor, which again is supposed to provide better performance and yada, yada, yada. So if you're brand new and you're on a budget though, then I definitely think that getting this with the combo with that is a good idea, knowing that this thing rips pretty well, feels decent compared to that one, close, but I can definitely tell the difference in the blowers, not for this review. But if you're brand new and you're on a budget, I don't see anything wrong with this for a smaller lawn. Out of these two, the biggest considerations are that speed feed head, which their speed feed head's a little clunky, but not too bad. But when I did take this apart and actually try to use it and string it, it's not that difficult. So this isn't like some of the old school ones that, you know, you're twirling line and it's driving you nuts. This one wasn't too bad actually. So I got it on the first try. So not too bad. As far as performance goes, this one seems to rip a little bit better. Even when I put the thinner line on here, this one still seems to rip a little bit better, but this one does just fine. This one also has 2 speeds. So if you do need that other speed, that lower speed, if you need lower torque, like if you're doing a fence line, then you want to go here. And if you don't need that and you just want to rip all the time, then you could go here, as long as you're okay with not having the speed feed head. And then back to the line, this one does allow you to go with the 95 thousandths line, whereas this one doesn't. So I didn't have any problem getting through stuff with the 80 thousandths though. But if you're somebody that's got a lot of more weeds or things like that, then you may need to go with the thicker line for sure. And then the last consideration is the price. You have $199 versus $179, 20 bucks. I don't know if that makes a difference to you. It does to some people. Paying that extra 20 to get some certain features that you may want, probably worth it. Then again, when you get up around $199, now you're actually getting up into some of the price range of some of these higher end ones. This is the carbon fiber one, so it's much more, but I think they have one that's a steel shaft that might be closer to that $199. So that's when you kind of gotta consider, well, do I even want to look at another brand? And I'm sure these are all the considerations that the Toro folks make in the winter. Well, they're probably already planning for next year now. They sit around and think about that. Where's our competitors? Where do they sit? Where do we fall in? All of that, which is why you get all these different options at different price points. So I hope that this video has been helpful to you. I hope if you're making a decision, it'll definitely help you. As always, I'm Alan Hain, the Lawn Care Nut. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the lawn.